The information discussed in this PILCast episode are merely opinions and do not constitute formal policy or legal guidance of any kind. Hello, and welcome to another PILCast episode, the series where we talk about federal procurement innovations in 10 minutes or less. We guarantee it. I'm David Jablonski with the DHS Procurement Innovation Lab, and today I have a special guest with me, Brittany Tobias for the DHS Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. Brittany, thank you for coming and joining the show with me today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Can you tell everyone about yourself a little bit?
Absolutely. My name is Brittany Tobias. I'm a supervisory contracting officer with DHS Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. With the detention compliance and removals area, I cover the Texas AOR. So I've been in contracting for about 13 years and about 6 with ICE.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Brittany. So in this episode, Brittany and I are going to talk about a procurement innovation technique called discovery. So we have a lot of our procurement innovation techniques out there on that PIL primer that we have on FAI.gov, but we haven't done one on discovery yet. Now, below in the box, you can find the periodic table of acquisition innovations in the comment box below, and you can access all of the different innovations, including discovery with samples from discovery in there. So again, today, before we dive into this discovery, though, Brittany, can you help share with everyone what discovery or discovery sessions are, just so we have that understanding?
Absolutely able to help with that. So discovery or discovery sessions, they occur after the release of solicitation, but prior to receiving final quotes or proposals. And the way I like to look at them is they're one-on-one sessions to ask questions. Often these are done written down, but if you have clarifications, sometimes they don't always come across in that written format and might be better in an oral conversation. It's even better as the one-on-one clarification because the vendor feels a little more comfortable, feels a little easier to understand what you guys are saying. So that's what discovery sessions are to me.
That's awesome. Okay. And I think one other thing I just wanted to add in there. So the main purpose of this is for providing perspective offer learning. So sharing that as-is operational state, just like you were talking about there. And that way they understand what your as-is operational state is, and that they can go ahead then and learn more about your as-is operational state. All right. So we got this out of the way now. We got what discovery sessions are. So Brittany, what type of procurement did you use the discovery session technique in?
Yep. So I used the discovery session in the solicitation phase. For very, very complicated services, detention services at a service processing center. They are all-encompassing, and it really requires someone to know how to run the detention site. I thought it was probably best to allow a couple of vendors to come in and ask questions about the operations of the building, and that was my main goal because they had a site visit where they saw what the building looked like, but now they were learning about the operations of the building.
Okay, so you said during the solicitation phase, I know other times we've seen this done, a lot of people have used like a phased approach, like a phase 1, do the evaluation, release it down selected in phase 2 before the final proposal is submitted, they have the discovery session. So is yours a 2-phase approach or just a single phase approach?
I had a single phase approach because we had a site visit on site and because my overall market was small enough that we didn't need an advisory down select or any kind of phase. So we did it just part of the solicitation.
Perfect. And now, so how did this work? So how did the discovery sessions work on your end, just so everyone has an understanding of what that looked like in real time?
Absolutely, yeah. So the vendors were given an opportunity to volunteer for these discovery sessions. It was after the site visit and after solicitation questions. So it was completely optional. And one thing I thought was interesting was some people chose not to partake in the discovery session. Just we're not interested, was not going to go for the proposal. So they were held virtually and were restricted to 5 people. I chose to disclose the supplemental handbook for the site, which described all of the policies and procedures of the Service Processing Center. They were given this handbook, it was a larger handbook, 1 business day prior to the discovery session. And I brought 3 to 4 on-site specialists to conduct a discovery so that they could answer the questions. Answers were not supposed to be on proposed approaches or questions regarding solicitation, but operational questions regarding the site. And they were really clarifications of what happens at the site. So a couple of days before we did the discovery session, I did want to prep my specialists. So we had a discovery cheat sheet where we went over the entire day, what they could answer, what they couldn't answer, and how to answer. And when it came to actually conducting discovery, I came up with the shortened version of what was in the solicitation as my opening statement. And we recorded and transcribed the session.
Okay, so you mentioned your specialist being there. Did the technical team, were they there as well?
The technical team was also there, as well as a couple of specialist officers in charge, people that are working at the site next to these contractors.
That's right. And just so everyone out there, so that's another recommendation we have as well. Have any subject matter experts in the room to answer questions, because you don't want those questions to leave the discovery session. You want everything done right in the discovery session itself. Okay, so did everything work out as planned?
Yes, it did, but we did have a couple of virtual hiccups. We had some people not able to log on to the meeting. We did have a couple of times where the questions that they asked were not regarding the operational state. They were regarding the solicitation. They were regarding feedback on their proposal, what would be acceptable to us, what we wouldn't like.
So while you're there, mention that. How did you handle that?
Yeah, I do have to say, this is my first time doing discovery. So the first couple of sessions, I did answer some things that I did not mean to. And so one thing that I love about discovery is you tell everyone if something is given in these discovery sessions that might give or might be applicable to another vendor or to not have a competitive advantage, it will be posted. So there were some hiccups where I did answer some questions in the moment, didn't mean to, but we had a method to stop that and say, you know what, that probably was a little too much and I need to post this later, information that needs to be clarified from the discovery session, which we did in an amendment.
That is a great feedback for everyone out there. And that would be, there's actually the solicitation language that we have, and samples you'll see has that language right in the solicitation itself. So if you're going to use discovery sessions in your requirements, include the language in there, and that way you have that opportunity, just like Brittany did here. Perfect. Did anything else not go as planned, or was everything else work okay?
Everything else went pretty well. We were able to frankly discuss what our mission was. And it was stated in the PWS and it was stated in the handbook, but it was more of a frank conversation back and forth to sort of discuss what the operations are, what that specific site was all about, and what mattered to them. They were able to explain that. I have to say, I got feedback from everyone, even though there were a couple of hiccups. I got feedback and everybody was really pleasantly surprised with how it went. I personally think that we got better proposals from the discovery sessions.
All right, so Brittany, do you have any recommendations for anyone that might want to use this technique in the future?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say get your team together pretty early and go over this discovery session and what is going to happen. This is a new feature. People might be nervous to use it. I know my lawyer was nervous to use it, but I brought him in early. I talked to him often, and throughout the process, I talked to my program management and my management about doing this, and all of them saw the risk, but they saw the benefits. So if you get your team together early, this can be pretty foolproof.
Perfect. Well, Brittany, thank you so much for sharing this great story with us today and how your team used discovery sessions as part of your acquisition process. Let us know in the comments what you think about this video. Please make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button so you get all of our latest updates. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time.